Hello.
Well, hello. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Um,
I'm excited for this week's topic.
I am too, because this is one that's it's very fun, but I
Mhm.
can also understand the hesitancy in getting behind
Yeah.
it because it is. Before we get started, though, we need to welcome Katrina, who's one of our new patrons to the Sustainable
Welcome.
Socials community. Yay! Come on down, Katrina. No, no.
Welcome to the circus. That
Yeah.
is social media.
Woohoo! Um, yeah, so this is actually, so we'd gotten some emails recently. We have our newsletter that we have some amazing subscribers on there, and we've had some people emailing in, and we love it when you guys respond back. So thank you when you do that, because it's just Allie and I both get great joy in chatting with you guys, and even seeing
This
like
is our
what,
passion topic. So whenever
yeah.
people want to talk about it, we're like, oh, yes, let's talk about
What do you want to talk about? The
it.
good, the bad, all of it, the ugly. But this is so JC Rycroft sent a note in asking about going live, which really hit us both. So we're like we like talking about going live. We both like going live. But
Mhm.
when JC had mentioned in there about how they want to try going live,
Yeah.
but what's it going to be like when you show up? Is it just talking into a void? And so
Mhm.
we're here to tell you that yes, it might be at first, but
Yeah.
it gets better real fast.
Yes. Because I feel like there's two different kinds of lives. There's the solo lives that you do, and then there's ones you do as duets or with other people. And I think the ones that you do with other people, I mean, for me are more fun because you're just chatting with friends and welcoming more people into the conversation. But also there's no like kind of like dead air time,
Yeah.
where you're just kind of like, I don't know, I'm just staring at my camera. It's just me. But I've gotten better at doing those too. But we should mention that on our top Patreon level tier, we go live with people to help them like just get over their fear.
Yes. Being able to have somebody hold your hand while you walk into it, because it can be a scary place to be. So we want to make sure that you have somebody there. And that's why we offer that, because we both had to go live by ourselves at some point, and we both understand how it feels.
Sorry, I got distracted because like a rainstorm just came in. If you noticed, I just went squirrel for a second. I was just like,
That's why I was wondering. That's why I jumped in, because like I saw you kind of look up, and I was like, okay, something could be happening in
like
the new
what?
neighborhood.
Yeah, I think it's just rain. I think we're okay.
Okay.
For a second, I thought there was like alarm or something going off, but no, it's just the rain. Um, life distractions. Um, what was I gonna say? Yes. So, yes, I love that we do that because I think a lot of people just like want that little extra bit of like support doing it for the first time. Um, and then you're like, oh, this is okay. And then you kind of like meet buddies that you go live with, and they're just kind of like your going live hangout buddies. And some people
Yeah.
have whole like shows that they do on TikTok where they like go live and
Yeah.
interview people and stuff like that, and then post them to YouTube and things. So there's some cool stuff going on in the world of lives. But as far as the solo lives go, quite often I'll just start talking. It feels a lot like so I used to work at a zoo, and sometimes there would be some issue getting an animal to come out, or whatever.
Oh,
And so you
oh.
just like they'd give you a microphone, and it was just like, go buy us like 10 minutes, go buy us some time while we get this going. And it feels a lot like that until you get people popping in and having conversations. Like
Yes.
the first 10 minutes, I'll just kind of be talking to no one a lot of the times, just being like, oh yeah, just like looking at my like emails, working on this book, da da da, just talk about what I'm doing, and then people pop in and I say hi, and then we start actually having a conversation as people start leaving more comments and things. But some people will go live and not even talk. They'll just be like doing writing sprints or
Yeah.
reading. Like, come hop on my live and have a reading buddy, and we'll just read quietly together,
Yeah.
So
Like it depends like what you're going in there for too. Cause like you said, if you're going in for a reading buddy or Like I can think of Eva Moore, who's somebody that does her sprints.
Yes, I
Hi,
love her so
Eva. I do too. I met Eva on
much.
Twitter in 2013.
Oh,
Very
wow. Okay.
when
Everybody
I
should go check out the
Eva
Late Night
Moore.
Writers Club.
Yes, Eva is just awesome. She was in Japan, I think, and I just moved to New Zealand, and we ended up being Twitter buddies for a while and like hung out on Twitter. And I found her again on TikTok, and it's so cool to see her on there kicking butt. But she's so much fun and
Yeah.
has that sprints. You just go on so you can do writing sprints. But whenever you're going live, one of my tips that I would say that I give people, of course, depending on what you're going on for, because if you're going on, maybe you're leaning into author talk and you're going to be teaching something, you can always, you'll have an agenda that you can always tape up next to your computer. Or like if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm pointing to my camera because that's usually where I stick something behind the camera, and I will have a list up there that I have blue tacked of different topics when I go on by myself. So that way, if I get to that moment of like, because I'm one of these people that when I do have stage fright happen, I go in good in that 2 seconds that it happens. I'll be up there and it's like, I have forgotten everything. I
Yeah.
am now 3 years ago to that time. I locked my keys in the car, and then I'm like, okay, everybody knows this is happening now. And I will totally begin to freak out in that 5 seconds.
Yep.
It is horrible. So I have to have stuff up there. So as soon as there's a lull, I can be like, all right, we'll go on to this. But just having, I think, something up there to kind of trigger your mind, because it is actually very quick that I found you'll get people that jump onto the live that are curious. And it's about retaining those folks then to come in and to hang out, and retaining the right ones that are actually going to be readers that are hopping on and not just somewhere,
Yeah.
that the FYP is pushing you out to see. So you want
You
to
will
find
get
your
like
people.
random trolls. Like that's just kind of part
Definitely.
of it. And
Like we did a live, and it was I had somebody on there asking me, I can't even remember the name, but it was like a Simpsons joke, and I just ignored it. But I was like,
yeah.
props for coming on and trying to get us to say this,
And
Buddy
then some people
McPartson.
will be like asking for money for things, or like ask you to say certain words, or like just be I've had the latest one I've seen a few times is people come on and be like, no one asked. And I'm like, who are you?
You know what?
They did ask. Like that's the question above you.
Yeah,
But
actually, there's a question.
but I'm very quick to mute people in my lives if they're obviously not one of my like friends or followers. So you just hold down their image and then it'll pop up. Like you can block, report, or just mute them in the conversation. I just mute them and
Brilliant.
they go away.
That is brilliant. I don't even mute. I just ignore. I just see it
Some
and just
people are like troll hobbyists, but
yes,
some,
there are.
like they just like have nothing better to do and they just go around doing these things. And a lot of the reason I mute them is because sometimes people will just keep posting the question and like hello, and it just start distracting everyone. So
Smart.
I just mute them the first time they say anything.
I'm gonna do that from now on because I didn't even think about the fact there could be a flow on to it as well.
Yeah.
With that.
It used to be like ages ago, it used to be like, would you date and then like whatever country they were from, like would you date a Kenyan, would you date a Samoan, like would you date a and it was just like well, first of all, I'm married.
Yeah.
But also, why are you here?
Yeah. Like, I'm talking
Just
about books,
has
people.
anyone said yes and then you got married? Like, what is the goal here? It's just to kind of like disrupt the conversation. So I just kind of just mute them and ignore them.
Oh my gosh. No, that is something
But that it doesn't happen that much, and then if you get a few, even just 2 or 3 people in your live having chat with you, those things just kind of get lost in the feed anyway. So
yeah. Yeah, no, I think going live is, it's one of those things too, that with going live, TikTok has come out and said in their being open, like revealing behind the curtain what's going on, they are going to be pushing for people to be on TikTok live. And, whenever one of these social media apps says this is what we're pushing, get behind it, because that means that's where all other energy is headed. So they'll be pushing people into that. So they recommend get on there for 30 minutes. So if you don't want to be on by yourself for 30 minutes, you just don't have the bandwidth to do that, then definitely like find a partner in crime to go on with you. Like find somebody else, a fellow author, or just get on there and see if you can get one of your readers that you trust to hop on with you to begin with. But I would definitely try to find an author or another writer so you can both go on, keeping in mind to do a live, you have to have at least 1,000 followers before you can even think about it. So if you haven't gotten to that part, don't go hopping on yet.
Yeah, get to 1,000 and then you can start doing lives. But yeah, and even then, even as they say that they're pushing those things, there's lots of people who are very successful who never go live. So like they may be pushing them, but like if you really, really don't want to, you don't have to. Like it's not a prerequisite to be successful. But hopefully some of those strategies will make it easier. Maybe you can, like, I see a lot of people who will go live while they're cooking dinner or while they're like, you know, doing something else, and they just like figure they have free time to chat while they're doing that.
People can answer questions, and, you know, bonus points if you're doing something that you can link into a book. You know, I've had people like, if I got in one of my books, somebody who's making a pie and I can be in the kitchen and baking at the same time, why not? Because you can link and talk about the fact it's in your book, but then you're still doing your thing in your element. And it could be, you know, maybe you set that pie on fire. That's your element because you're actually writing that this person's.
I like that idea though. That's like making Alice's pie from my book. And it's like, and you just keep mentioning that, like, oh, I have this recipe in my book, so I'm making it, you know, like that's a great way to kind of tie the book in. A lot of times I'll just have the cover in the background of the lives and stuff too.
Oh, that's smart. That's a good,
so you just have the book cover there. I have like a new idea for how to do that with TikToks that I will be revealing hopefully in the next few weeks, and I'll tell you about how it goes on the podcast then.
You know, I want to say too, because I feel like, and this is something that I've seen come up like with acting, but with all social media, that when somebody's going to go live or do a video, but their thing that they can't, like that mindset moment of it is, but there will be a troll. There will be somebody that's going to do, what about the men that come in my DMs and say the gross things? What about the this that happens? I'm going to flip that perspective for you and say that when you finally get a troll, welcome to the club, you've arrived. And like, now you know how to mute them and ignore, block them, restrict them. You're going to get trolls. Just understand that it's going to happen. And we just don't listen to them because they're trolls.
Ignore them.
Yeah. So it's going to happen. Ignore them, set it up so that way you can just block, restrict, and walk away. But just know that you're not the first one to have it happen, and it'll probably happen again, but you can protect yourself and take the right steps.
Yeah, exactly. And usually there's not so many that it's really distracting to what you're doing. And
it's changed a lot. It was more of a Wild West 5 years ago, and I think now they've definitely toned it down. And like even
a year ago on TikTok, it's very different.
It really is. They're doing a lot more on TikTok to kind of stop those comments from coming up and to stop. And they do a lot more bot cleaning than they were doing in years prior. So definitely things have changed. And I think getting onto a live, I mean, I like doing them, but I also know that I don't have to do them all the time if I don't want to, like you were saying, Allie, because I think that's an important thing to know, is that it doesn't have to be a part of your strategy. If you don't,
sometimes I would do them every week, and then sometimes I'd only do them around like a book launch. It really just depends on where I am in the world and how much time I have, and you know, those things. But I usually do more lives like more frequently around a launch week, because I do think that helps all the videos get seen more and stuff too. Like, you know, you're just it's in that hype mode cycle. Going live is, I think, kind of part of that book launch time. But outside of that, I think it's really more just like up to you, like how much you want to do that. I do see some people who just live on lives, like, and I'm like, when are you writing?
Like, how are you doing?
And they're not writing in the lives, they're chatting with people. And I'm like, you spend like several hours every day on a live and I'm like, that's too much for me. Like I would rather be writing, you know, and I'd rather be doing other
Same.
stuff for a business. But I think a lot of people feel like they need to be on lives. And so then it becomes like an addiction, like all things with social media, where they
Yeah.
just do more and more and more and more, trying to keep the same amount of like viewers and consistency and, you know, like
Yeah.
getting their video pushed out. And so just be aware of that too, that you don't get like, have a kind of set amount of time in your head that is how much you want to be doing lives for. Some people are working on their lives and actually like that's a productive time for them, in which case go for it, you know, like because then they can't pick up their phone, you know,
Yes.
they
Yes.
have
True.
like a virtual accountability. So, you know, that's different. But like if you're finding yourself spending every day several hours a day and then going, I don't have enough time to write, then it might be time to like pull back and go, okay, how much time do I want to be spending doing lives?
Right. Like, do
Because
I
it
have to?
really doesn't do as much as I think some people think it does, you know. Like doing 1 hour long live a week is not going to be so dissimilar than 5, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, if it fits in your strategy, that is wonderful. But if it doesn't, it's okay. It's okay. Do something else, you guys. But don't be scared. Get on there, find a friend, phone a friend if you really need to, or just go on and have yourself a list of topics and play. As with everything, approach with curiosity and playfulness.
Yes,
Give it a shot.
exactly. And let us know if you do go live, how it
Yeah,
goes.
definitely. Tell us how it goes. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
And if anybody has any questions, you can always email them in too. team@sustainablesocials.com is the email. If you just want to send us an email, we would love to hear from you.
Awesome. Yes.
All right. That is us for the week.
Yeah. And actually, we should say that you and I do TikTok lives.
We had the same thought at the same time. That's right. We do it once a week, you
Before we
guys.
go, before
We
we
go
sign
on.
off, come pop into one of our TikTok lives.
Yeah.
I'm at AK Mulford Author, and you're at
And Kemp
AnCamp Author,
author.
or just
Yep.
AnCamp?
And Kemp author. And we aim for Mondays at 11:30 New Zealand time, 8:30 Australian. That would be Sunday, 2:30 Pacific. You all figure it out from
We'll let
there.
you do the time zone math. Remember, we're a day ahead. So if you're in like the US or Europe, you know, our
Like
Sunday is your Monday, or our Monday is your Sunday. So
if I can
yeah.
get us to Pacific, I'm like, that feels like that's my North Star. If I can get to PST, then I'm good. I can figure it
Yeah.
all out from there.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're around or awake in your neck of the woods, come say hi. And
Yes.
yeah.
We-